Bad. Time now to take a look at some of the stories in the news and out there in pop culture that have people talking.
And psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig is here on the couch with us to discuss. So welcome. Thanks for being here. Good morning. Okay. So now
lots of stories.
Lots of stories. And let's talk about the Malaysian jetliner. I mean, we've all been kind of watching this television and the story unfold. Let's talk about the emotional toll on the families as we're seeing here.
These poor families, they're really on an emotional roller coaster where they vacillate between feelings of hope and despair. And it can go from hope one minute to despair the next because there's no body. So people hear stories of, oh, there was a situation where there was a plane missing and they ended up on a deserted island. So these families are really clinging to hope and any story that will validate that their family members are still alive. They want to believe that. So they live in this state of ambiguous loss. And we don't do very well with not knowing. We do better with knowing and then finding a way to make sense out of it and how it impacts our life.
You talk about ambiguous loss, though, but look at this. How much does the media exacerbate this with this in-your-face reporting and watching all their moves and just the way the investigation is unfolding as well?
It's such an interesting question because it could go either way. In some ways, it's almost like an ongoing funeral because it's highlighting this idea that the family members really are missing. They're probably not coming back. Imagine if these families had to deal with ambiguous loss and there was no media contact, and they weren't getting information. But I think what people can do for these families is just support where they're at and acknowledge how far they've come. You know, they're in a different country, they're finding out information, they're staying on top of it, and that's really all they can do at this point.
Okay, now let's talk about Mick Jagger. He's back in the U.S. planning his girlfriend Wren Scott's funeral. Now there are rumors that the Rolling Stones had actually banned her from their tour. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Well, listen, from people that knew Wren Scott, they described her as very talented, very almost stoic, so very refined, but a person who would keep her inner feelings to herself. And nobody likes to be rejected, and especially if somebody is in a very depressed state, we don't know what any kind of rejection can mean to them. I'm sure the fact that Mick Jagger's band members didn't want her around was not the straw that broke the camel's back. It sounds like there were multiple stressors going on, and what's really scary for people is to think you can know somebody and not recognize their suicidality or their suicide impulses. But the truth of the matter is it's not always visible to somebody who really wants to keep it a secret. They can. And so it's just unfortunate because she was a woman described as having so much talent.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to skip ahead because I want to talk about this. These Long Island teens that are posting the drunk pictures of themselves in various states of dress and duress. Number one, what are they thinking? And what are they going to do? What are their parents going to do? And what are parents who are seeing this right now to do when it comes to talking to their kids?
Well, first of all, I think parents need to open up a conversation. Use these news stories as a way to have a conversation with your teen. To say, listen, once something is out there, it leaves a digital imprint permanently, forever. And we know that teens don't think things through and their brain isn't quite developed. So they think more impulsively. They don't think about cause and effect. And in the moment, it probably feels really cool and really fun. And they're thinking about what it looks like in relation to their peers. But when they can't get into the college that they want and they're not getting hired for those jobs that they want, that's when that's when they're going to feel shame and humiliated and start to attack themselves.
It doesn't matter how many likes you get today. It's about what happens tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, thank you so much for joining us on the couch. Always great to have you here.